Blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436. 580-KIDO. Charlotte Jones joining us, a graduate, talking about homeschooling Idaho. That is our focus this morning. Charlotte, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about your experience of being homeschooled.
Well, I went to private schools until I was in 8th grade, and then halfway through 8th grade, I started homeschooling.
And what was the difference?
It was a huge difference. I could choose my own classes. I got everything done a lot faster and just had the rest of my day to do other things.
Okay, well, what was your favorite class?
My favorite class? Probably science. I've always liked science.
Sure.
So,
Mom, what about you?
What's the question? My favorite class?
No, homeschooling. Why do you do it?
I do it because we have more family togetherness. My kids are closer to each other. They're best friends, and we have a lot more freedom to choose what we do with our days.
And would you recommend it?
Absolutely. It's amazing that you actually can homeschool high school. And it's doable, and your kids can get into college. It's kind of scary at first, though.
How's that?
You don't know what you're doing because you're not necessarily a teacher. But there are so many resources and so many classes that the kids can take if you can't teach it yourself. Online classes, co-ops, groups of teachers who are putting together classes for homeschoolers.
And what else would you like to say about this? I mean, you're pretty just very specific on this.
If you feel inspired to do it, don't let your fears get in the way. Just do it, because you can do it.
What was your toughest challenge?
Deciding to do it.
Well, going from a private school to homeschooling.
Yes, because it's so much easier to just take your kids to school than try to figure out their curriculum and make sure you're doing okay.
Right.
We also had our kids tested most of the years we were homeschooling just to make sure they were doing okay.
And how did that work out?
Their test scores just kept getting better and better.
Right.
Yeah, it was amazing.
When we're taking a look at getting into college, how did that work out?
Well, Charlotte applied to 4 colleges and got into all of them.
Right.
So it really wasn't scary or challenging like we thought it might be.
Right. Charlotte, tell us a little bit more about you. What are you going to study in college?
I plan on studying mechanical engineering at Boise State University.
Boy, that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where did you get the love to do that from?
I did a physics course last year, which I did all on my own. I basically just had my textbook, and it was very well planned, and I did all the labs at home, and it was so fun that I was like...
Wait a minute, physics is fun.
Yes, physics is fun.
And you did this all on your own?
Yeah, basically.
Right. How did that work, Mom? How did that work out?
Well, Charlotte always gets good grades, so it worked out fine. And then she said she wanted to do advanced physics from an online school, which she did, and she got 100% for the year. She studied hard, and she's like, Mom, it really wasn't that hard.
What do you attribute that to? Is it just the environment of being at home, or what do you attribute that to?
Well, I have 2 children, and both of them enjoy studying. My son struggled in school and now loves to learn. And I think there's less stress at home. There's less extraneous issues. Mm-hmm. I also think Charlotte's has an exceptional brain, which made studying advanced physics easy and fun for her.
A lot of people would say, being at home, just like working from home, it's a less stressful environment, but then you got to make sure you're actually doing the work. Yeah. Now, hearing both of you, I have no doubt that the work went on, but for other people, it might be a challenge. What would you say to that, between interplay between learning and between the curriculum.
Just like if you were to work from home, you have to set up a schedule
Yeah.
to make it happen.
Okay. What do you want to do once you graduate, Charlotte?
Well, I want to get a job. I really am interested in being a part of Engineers Without Borders. They go around and do different service projects around the country and the world. I think that would be super cool to be a part of.
Right. Mom, what about you? What's next for you?
Well, I have one more kid. His birthday's today, 17. And get him through and keep doing what I do, which is violin teaching.
And you wouldn't do it any other way.
No, I feel so blessed that we made this decision,
Right.
even though it was very difficult at the time.
Right, indeed. Indeed. Your advice to people?
Don't let your fear get in the way.
All right. Well, thank you both for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Homeschool Idaho, as we continue on, Kevin Miller in the morning, taking your calls about the issues that matter to you. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's get back to what President Trump has to say concerning the farmers and the trade war.
We'll be taking in, over a period of time, hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs and charges to China. And our farmers will be greatly helped.
There we have it. The president standing up for the farmers, but many critics say that his policies are hurting the farmers.
Today, I'm announcing that I have directed Secretary Perdue to provide $16 billion in assistance to America's farmers and ranchers. It all comes from China.
It all comes from China. So the trade war continues. Many people think that this is the bad move to make. And you heard, if you were listening earlier, Rachel Sutherland basically saying, look, Kevin Miller, not a lot is going to happen here in what is going on in Washington, because you have this drumbeat towards impeachment. You have this drumbeat towards impeachment. And what we're seeing here, the devious little libs, what they're doing, they've decided they're all in. Hillary couldn't get it done. Obama couldn't get it done. James Comey couldn't get it done. Robert Mueller couldn't get it done. So now they look to Jerry Nadler. And these are people that we've never heard of, except maybe back in the late 80s, early 90s. Jerry, his physique resembled mine, and they called him Fat Jerry. Jerry Nadler, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. We're looking at Jerry. We're looking at Nancy Pelosi, who knows this is the wrong move. Yesterday, I was counting pennies at Cap Ed Credit Union. And young Jacob, my ward, says to me, look at this. Here's a 50-cent piece. And look who's on the 50-cent piece. It's one of ours, Kennedy, not one of yours. And what was the message of Kennedy, of John Kennedy? Essentially, at 580-5436, that there's something greater than all of us. There's something greater than partisanship. That's what was his message. And the message that we're hearing today out of Washington is that these folks don't like the president so much that they are willing to put it all in, no disaster aid, no wall, nothing of consequence, no infrastructure. We're all going to punt. And then we wonder why people don't like politicians. And then we take a look at why politics is such a dirty word. And then we take a look at why people are so turned off. You had President Trump bringing back America. The economy is revving. If you're in the stock market, you're doing great. Now, there are still challenges. Wages have to get up. We have to take a look at what we're going to do to keep Americans employed. General Motors cutting back, other people cutting back, People say a recession's on the way. We've heard that before. And you have people openly wishing and waiting for the economy to tank. It makes no sense, right? Especially when you take a look at what happened under President Obama, where the media protected President Obama, right? And we have these Democratic candidates. We have everybody pandering. And then we have Joe Biden, who's not doing a lot of campaigning because he's not getting a lot of attention. He's getting a lot of money because of name recognition and everything else. But he's not moving the needle. So what do? He's trying to do a Hillary Clinton, just run out the clock on everyone else. And we have, again, these people putting the pressure on Nancy Pelosi and Jerry Nadler, and now Stand Up America, wanting to impeach the President of the United States. A liberal activist group is ramping up pressure on the Democratic congressional leaders with a new campaign to begin impeachment proceedings against President Trump. Stand Up America. They say they've gotten 2.4 million members since it was founded after the president's election, began pushing their members to call for, confront, and otherwise lobby Democratic members of the House to start the impeachment process. What has the president done to warrant this? I'd like to know, wouldn't you? At 580-5436, 580-KIDO. We'll talk about it next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
20 elections about doing what's right now for our country. This is going to be a precedent that we set when we don't hold this president accountable to the rule of law and to the United States Constitution.
Why do you think you can't convince a majority of House Democrats that it's time to impeach him?
No, I think it is moving towards that. It's going to demand it. It already is. And I think the American people understand that we can't do our job if the president thinks he's above the law.
Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib sounding pretty confident that she and other Democrats will bring Speaker Nancy Pelosi and other reluctant Democrats around on.
There we have it. The move to go after President Trump, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. That is one thing. Now, according to a sealed FBI, a plethora of sealed FBI audio tapes allege that it's not a good day for Dr. King. Apparently, according to these sealed reports, he had affairs with 40 women and watched while a friend sexually assaulted another one, according to a new report. These are FBI documents from the 1960s, allege Martin Luther King Jr. had affairs with 40 women and stood by as a friend assaulted a woman, according to a new report. This is from King biographer David Garrow, set to be released on Thursday. In Standpoint magazine will detail the FBI memos, according to the London Times. Now, these tapes are not supposed to be released till 2027, and it makes you wonder, as the world will know about this coming up, what the future of the King holiday is, what the future is of the King Memorial, of what the future of the legacy is of Dr. King, who pretty much has been untouchable in the world we live in today. Now, can we go back and relitigate things? Can we go back and take a look at history? When I first read about this over the weekend, I'm thinking to myself, what don't we know about what happened in the 1960s? Most notably, the Kennedy assassination, right? That were sealed and resealed until the next, 10 or 20 years. President Trump was going to unseal the documents associated with the assassination of President Kennedy. And what happened? Well, absolutely nothing happened because of national security. We're talking about something that happened over 50 years ago. Now you take a look at these disturbing FBI audio tapes. According to this author, Pulitzer Prize winner David Garrow, who stumbled upon these tapes. He's already did, I believe, a book on King, doing another one for this Standpoint magazine. These are very shocking, whether we're in the Me Too era or not. And apparently these memos, these FBI recordings, were a huge part of the National Archives data that were dumped in early 2019. Now, as many of you know, the FBI secretly recorded Dr. King in a years-long effort to discredit him. The tapes themselves remain under seal in the National Archives. Garrow's article was rejected by more prominent news outlets, so the story carries more unanswered questions about the accuracy of the FBI material. And as we've said earlier today, people are innocent until proven guilty. The King Center, which chronicles King's life, has not commented on these allegations. And again, the topic could be very disturbing to some that are listening here this morning on KIDO Talk Radio. So you take a look at these allegations of Dr. King apparently having these affairs outside of his marriage and the sexual assault that he allegedly witnessed. Are we going to start relitigating history as we've done with the Founding Fathers? Is it time for the people to take a look at the King holiday when you're looking at someone who has been beloved and everyone else? Now, and if you bring this up, are people going to say that this is in fact a racist attack? I say this to you because, you can't trust people in the media. You can't find this story. But this story, again, ran over the weekend where you have the audio tapes allege Dr. King had affairs with over 40 women and had this sexual assault happen, which he witnessed. And you have the disturbing audio tapes. You have the disturbing quotes and everything else. Now, how does that impact your thoughts, your views on the King legacy? 580-5436, 580-KIDO, traffic and weather together. Let's get you to work safely and on time. Good morning, Dave. And I'm Kevin Miller here on KIDO Talk Radio. Back to this article, though. You're not seeing it anywhere else where you have these documents describing what went on, these affairs with Dr. King, having affairs with over 40 women and watched on as a sexual assault happened in the 1960s. According to the London Times, an article written by King biographer David Garrow and set to be published this week in Standpoint Magazine details newly released FBI memos that discuss these tapes. And so many times we've had people going after American heroes, American icons, but this happened 50, 60 years ago. And if you have the tapes there now, apparently, as these assaults and affairs were going on, the FBI was in the other room and did nothing. And yet you can't find it anywhere. And this is my point exactly when we're taking a look at the media. And people say, well, there's no drum for impeachment except with the media. You take a look at what happened, the civil liberties under President Obama, and what happened there. Nothing. The denial of civil liberties, where you had people that were doing their things and everything else and just minding their own business, exercising their freedom of speech. And what happened to them? Well, because they were conservative, because they were faith-based, because they were Christian, they were prosecuted by the government. They were persecuted. They were put to the edge of financial ruin. Did anybody cover it? No. But we can have the Russian collusion, delusion, obstruction, junction, function, right? And that can get legs. And nothing happens there. Nothing happens when people say it was a lie. We're living in dangerous times. I thought how they treated the second President Bush was crazy. And then the media loving President Obama was crazy. But the treatment, the one-sided treatment that we're seeing with the president, and now you have this shocking story concerning Dr. King that is not getting any publication here. Back to the story. Former FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover was personally motivated to bring King down, according to the Institute. Remember, Hoover thought that King was a communist, so he ordered the bugging. Does this impact your view of Dr. King? Does this impact your view of whether or not the King holiday should stay? And for the libs, it's a challenge because you've got the Me Too movement now. If this story gets any wind, what happens next? Russell in Meridian with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Russell, good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. Thanks for allowing me to get on the radio. It's just amazing that you allow Christians like me to get on. Kevin, look, the issue is power. The issue that's happening in Washington, D.C. is about power. The communists, the evil, satanic communists, want to gain total power over the United States. Obama said, this is not a Christian country. The only way that they can gain power is to destroy the power of the people of God. It says in the scripture that he gave us the power to become children of God, sons and daughters of God. And so we are the ones that can stop this satanic overthrow of the United States. What you're talking about with Martin Luther King Jr. is an abuse of power also. So this is what is the true heart of what we're dealing with. And it's time for those of us who have gained that power from God to stop sinning, not be perfect as a human individual, but understand the perfect life in the power of the Holy Spirit that we seek to live with all our might and being. We're the ones that need to start to speak up, and we need to speak up with authority, because under every communist regime of the 20th century, what you see is the elimination of the power of the people of God. The Christians are crushed. And that's what I believe personally this is all about at this time in the United States. Thanks a lot, Kevin.
All right, Russell, thank you for the call. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Coming up next, again, your thoughts on where are we to go. Would you like Congress to work on infrastructure or impeachment? Plus, we continue to talk to our friends in the homeschooling movement here in the state of Idaho. You're listening to Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Good morning, Maggie. Okay, Kevin Miller here for our friends at DeMeyer Furniture and Mattress. Wonderful, wonderful people at DeMeyer Furniture and Mattress. They are local. They're located in Boise, in Meridian and in Mountain Home. I always get ahead of myself talking about the original DeMeyer Furniture location in Mountain Home, Idaho. If you're looking for a great deal on sleep, I would highly recommend going to see the sleep professionals at DeMeyer Furniture and Mattress. They are trained to help you get they're trained to help you get a great night's sleep at DeMeyer Furniture and Mattress. I know I've spent plenty of time with them at the super mega store in Meridian, Idaho, right next to R.C. Willey. You go there. It's easy in, easy out. And if you're looking for furniture, particularly now is the time of year to go to DeMeyer Furniture and Mattress and take a look at their wide selection. We understand that you have a lot of choices, but DeMeyer Furniture and Mattress, they said, Kevin Miller, we would like you to help us get the word out. We love the Kevin Miller Show audience. We love what goes on here at KIDO Talk Radio, so we're happy to partner with DeMeyer Furniture and Mattress. And if you're looking for a couch, an end table, stools, they have it all, either in Mountain Home or the big mega superstore in Meridian, right there on Franklin, right next to R.C. Willey. DeMeyer Furniture and Mattress, please tell them Kevin Miller sent you. And we're joined by Tabitha and Abby, joining us here from the Homeschool Movement. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So share with us why homeschool.
Well, Kevin, my husband and I started homeschooling about 13 years ago when our firstborn had to enter kindergarten, and we had to make that decision where we were going to send him. As we had raised him, as every parent, we just love the time that we have with him and realized that we wanted to continue building relationship with him and any other children that we would have. And now he is entering into his senior year this upcoming fall, and we have 6 children total, and we would not change a thing. We have loved the opportunity to build relationship with them and to have a choice in what curriculum they have that's influencing them, and we wouldn't change a thing.
Boy, Abby, your thoughts?
I have definitely enjoyed being homeschooled growing up, and it's been a blessing to be able to grow close with my family, and my siblings are my best friends and have the best teacher, and it's been fun.
Well, when you say develop a relationship, what do you all mean by that? Because I've been hearing that all morning long. Developing a relationship with your kids, don't you have that already?
Yes, you do, and I think that homeschooling provides opportunity just to have deeper relationship and influence them in their worldview thinking, in their philosophy, and then in the normal ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, all of the curriculum that you would be able to go through with your children. But the relationship, the side-by-side time, the being able to have them at their highs, at their lows, and to be able to, for us as a family, walk through that with biblical truth alongside of that has been very important.
Well, Abby, your thoughts?
I think that just like Mom said, being always with your family and not just seeing them, however many hours, like before and after school, it's been a blessing to be able to live life with them, and like Mom said, ups and downs. And
see, to me, that would be just very intimidating to, try to teach your kid at home. What would you say to that?
You grow with them. I was homeschooled for a couple years when my family was stationed in Germany, and my mom made the decision to homeschool us, and at that time there were 2 curriculums available. By the time I got to the point where my husband and I decided to homeschool, there are hundreds of curriculums available and resources in Idaho. We have not only the resources through curriculums that we can use to help teach our children, but we also have an enormous community of other homeschoolers that can come alongside us. And I just feel very blessed and privileged to have been walking this with many homeschoolers like Linda Patchen, who has gone before us and graduated all of her children, and using her as a personal resource, as well as the other resources that we have in abundance to us. So it has not felt intimidating to walk with our children in this learning process. We have noticed that we've grown with them, and they are very capable as they go through up through high school. And like I said, our oldest is getting ready to enter his senior year. And I think when he was 5 and somebody asked if we were going to homeschool him through high school, I thought, well, we'll pray about it and take every year at a time. Now that we've gotten here, it has not seemed intimidating because of all the resources that are out there.
What would you say to people that, what's the biggest misconception about homeschooling? What would you say to them?
I'll let Abby answer that.
Probably that we're antisocial. We're not very socialized.
Okay, speak into the mic, please.
We're not super socialized, and just kind of funny because we get plenty of socialization. But yeah, that's probably one of the main things whenever I say that I'm a homeschooler. People are like, oh, do you have friends? Well, yes, I have friends. I have plenty of them, and we've been blessed with such a amazing community of homeschoolers here. And so I'd say probably not being socialized.
Well, can you share to the audience about the community of homeschoolers?
Well, there's many different communities of homeschoolers in Idaho and the Boise area. Some you can, for us personally, our church has a large number of homeschooling families, and so there's one community for us. There are co-ops, and some of the co-ops are maybe within churches, or they may be within specific curriculums, or they may address a specific. I've lost my word.
Happens to me all the time. But if people want more information, what can they do?
There is a great website, homeschoolidaho.org, and that website would give them a lot of information specifically about Idaho and homeschooling. They could attend the convention, which is the first weekend of June, and that is put on by Homeschool Idaho. There's also a website, HSLDA, which would be another great resource for
Okay. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Great job. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Kevin Miller in the morning here, taking your phone calls about the issues that matter to you. And one of them has to be this issue concerning the Navy. And apparently the Navy is going to start reviewing their dress code after they've seen some of the pro-President Trump patches on their uniforms. Now, this is the first time that this has happened, and U.S. service members seen with MAGA patches on their jumpsuits at a President Trump speech. We'll talk about it next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Blessed to be with you, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's go to Jeff Manasso joining us from Fox News Radio. Jeff, good to have you with us. Thank you for joining us.
Hey,
I wish
Kevin, good to be with you.
I wish the topic were a little better this morning.
Well, it's one of those things where you sit in the chair and it's like, where do you start? I mean, it's just nonstop. And the National Weather Service is saying that there have been 352 tornadoes in just the last 12 days, with more threats from the plains, the Northeast today, and rescue crews for another day going door to door. This time, east of Lawrence, Kansas, in the city of Linwood, where we've seen images of homes and structures and barns just being obliterated and destroyed, and nothing but concrete slabs and tossed cars. It's the images we saw yesterday in central Indiana and western Ohio, where the National Weather Service folks confirms that one of the 8 tornadoes that touched down was an EF3, winds between 135 to 165 miles an hour. In fact, the EF3 was the one that tossed a car into a home that killed an 81-year-old man. There is tornado damage northeast of Philly. There's damage to New York. There was a tornado warning in Manhattan yesterday, and so cleanup continues across a huge portion of this country, from the east to the Midwest. To the south, where we were talking all last week about major damage in tornadoes that just wreaked havoc on the state of Oklahoma, where every county right now is under a state of emergency because of flooding. There are states of emergency declared in Arkansas, particularly along the Arkansas River. Hard-hit area, Fort Smith, Arkansas. 1,000 homes or more could be inundated with water. Last week we saw it near Tulsa, the Arkansas River swallowing up homes, and it's the Arkansas River, it's the entire Mississippi Valley, it's the Missouri River, and all of that water is going to go somewhere. It's going south, and it's all going to meet up just south of Memphis along that Mississippi River. And so the folks in Louisiana, Mississippi, throughout Arkansas, they need to be getting prepared for what's coming their way, because it's being called a record flooding in Fort Smith, Arkansas right now. 42 feet is a record, and it's just blowing records, and it's being compared to the Great Flood of the 1920s.
Jeff Manasso joining us here. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Could you once again repeat the number of tornadoes?
Well, I can just tell you, in the last 12 days, the National Weather Service is saying 352 tornadoes that have, ravaged much of the country. 500 in just a month. Tornadoes touching down somewhere in the country and doing damage. But we've just seen such an active season. Extremely active, and again, I can't stress it enough. Those threats continue today from the southern plains along the Texas Panhandle, Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, up into the Northeast. And so it's imperative that people really stay sky aware. And despite all of this terrible damage that we've seen from twisters around the country, the we're not seeing a lot of death. I mean, we're seeing a handful, unfortunately, but people are smarter. They're getting those early alert systems via their cell phones, and they're glued in. And in many cases, they have a plan. So, what we do on the radio in inclement weather and when it storms, our number one job is to keep people safe and to keep people informed. And the more you know, the more you know it ahead of time, it gives you a little bit more time to prepare. And so we're seeing a lot of people that are saving themselves because of this. And again, we make fun of our meteorologists because we don't like the weather that they talk about all the time, but really they're lifesavers in situations like this.
Indeed, of course, now the federal government having to figure out how to help these communities rebuild.
Well, they're stretched thin. We're expected to hear from FEMA here shortly on their operation that is just like the Red Cross and other volunteer organizations. I mean, they're stretched thin. They're everywhere right now, covering storms like this and storm recovery and cleanup, and just the amounts of rain that have just piled up along these major river basins in the plains, in the southern plains, in the Midwest. It's catastrophic, and the damage really has only just begun with some of this water that we're seeing.
Jeff Monosso, we appreciate the insight. Thank you, sir.
You bet. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Jeff Monosso. And again, keep those folks in your prayers as you think about what's really going on in other parts of the country. We're talking about a tornado possibly being sighted here in our region, but these folks that have to deal with it again and again are crazy. When we're talking about how deadly these tornadoes can be. Now, the politically incorrect press, they're mad. Let's take a listen.
Some U.S. service members at President Trump's Memorial Day speech in Japan over the weekend may have violated Pentagon rules. The airmen were photographed wearing these patches. The image appears to be President Trump, along with text saying, "Make air crew great again." The Department of Defense bars soldiers from engaging in partisan political activities. Navy spokesman Samuel Boyle told CBS News that Navy leadership is reviewing the situation, but the DoD says no action has yet been taken.
Is that really partisan? Making air crew great again? I mean, come on. Doesn't the Department of Defense have better things to do than to go after these brave service members who are having a little fun? I mean, when you're deployed, and, deployment is not fun, but you have your band of brothers, your band of sisters, and everything else, right? You're deployed, you're sitting back, you're, an island unto yourself. So the President of the United States comes by, and there we have it, that you put that on your uniform. And then, boom, what's next? Boom. People are inquiring that it's not right. Crazy. Coming up next, how people are finding affordable homes in the city of Boise. First, traffic and weather together. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Dave. And I'm Kevin Miller in the morning here, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. So we have this issue where we have job growth, we have people coming into the area, more and more people living in the Treasure Valley. For every 100 people coming in, there are only 75 homes. And affordable housing has gone through the roof. As many of you know, I watched the Boise Boys show on HG television, and they're saying, yeah, you can get a starter home in West Boise for $300,000. Now, I don't know. You don't have to be... I think you'd have to be Mark Zuckerberg if that's your starter home, if that's your first home that you're going to buy. Well, affordable housing has become such a challenge that you now have a community of people living in shipping containers. No, I'm not kidding. Idaho's affordable housing community has decided they've built new homes out of shipping containers, and they want residents to move in. Now, again, apparently, according to our friends here at Channel 7, it only takes 28 days to turn a shipping container into a living space. And apparently, 4 families will be able to call these shipping containers home in the city of Boise. You have one young lady telling Channel 7 that living in a shipping container is a chance for a new beginning. Quote, "We lost the place we called home, moving from one creative solution to another, none of them being ideal because I couldn't have all my children with me." And this is at the Windy Court Estates, apparently. This single mother of 4 did nothing wrong. What happened to her? A stroke. Had a stroke a couple years ago, which, as many people can attest, no thanks to Obama and the Democrats, and we're going to reform health care and pre-existing conditions, and everything else is going to be wonderful. Not to this single mother of 4. She endured financial hardships for her family, her relatives. For the last 6 to 8 months, this young lady and her kids have been living under 3 different roofs. Being here is that a reunification of our family is going to happen, and we couldn't be more excited. Think about this today, where we have people living in shipping containers. Now, to live in a shipping container, it's 960 square feet, has 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and that's $843 a month, including utilities. Now, again, big ups to the people that are finding these solutions. But as I said earlier this morning, if you were listening, talking about, hey, it's chip seal season, everybody, get ready to pay the exorbitant prices of the windshield replacement cartel or the chip sealing replacement cartel. And this is the best that we can do when it comes to affordable housing. Now, you have people saying to yourselves, look, we're not looking for a handout. We're looking for a hand up. What type of community are we living in when this is the best that we can do? Truly, we need to do better. Do we not? Look, 4 bedrooms, $843 a month sounds like a pretty good deal to me. And if it's gotten that bad, where is the government oversight on this? Right? We'll talk about it next. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Blessed to be with you. 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Good morning.